In this lecture, we're going to be looking at deleting and dissolving in edit mode. We're going to look at what the difference is between deleting parts of a mesh and dissolving parts of a mesh. We're going to use this as a means of being able to make our objects better with less. And then I'm going to give you a challenge. So let's log in to Blender. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter edit mode with tab key, and I'm going to subdivide my mesh quite a bit. So I'm going to press W and click subdivide, and I'm going to go with 5 cuts. Okay, so first of all, let's look at deleting. As we may have known by now, if we go into objects mode and press the X key, we have the option of deleting our selected object. However, in edit mode, we can delete parts of the object. So, for example, I've selected one vertex. If I press the X key, I will have a delete menu, and it will tell me what I want to delete. So we have deleting vertices, edges, faces, only edges and faces, only faces, dissolving options, limited dissolve, etc. For this lecture, we're going to focus on going from vertices down to dissolve faces. These are the ones we're going to focus on. So let's start with deleting a vertice. Delete. And we now have a hole in our mesh. The reason why this has happened is edges need vertices to have form. Faces need vertices to have form. So by deleting that vertice, we also deleted all of the edges and faces that were connected to that vertice. I'm going to press Ctrl and Z now to undo, and we'll see this effect in edge select mode. So we'll select an edge, press X, delete edge, and we can see that the edge has been deleted. Therefore, the two faces that were connected have also been deleted. However, the two vertices, if we look in vertex select, the two vertices that made that edge are still there. So make a note of that. So when you delete an edge, it does not delete the vertices that connected that edge, just the edge itself, and therefore it only deletes edges and faces connected to them. Ctrl and Z a few times just to bring our cube back. And next we have face select. So select a face, make sure you right click, not left click as I just did. And we're going to press X, delete faces. And there we go. So this time, because we deleted faces, it did not delete any edges or vertices because they are higher up in the Blender hierarchy. So you have vertices at the top, which they are the king, edges next, then faces. So we've got rid of our face. However, there are different ways that we can work with this. So Ctrl Z, I'm going to press X again, but this time I'm going to select delete edges. Now what's happened is that instead of deleting the face itself, it's deleted all of the edges that made up that face, and as a result deletes all of the faces connected to those edges. Ctrl Z to undo. Finally, if we go X delete vertices, I'm going to wait a sec, pause the video in a sec and see how many of the surrounding faces do you think will disappear when I delete vertices. Okay, here we go. Gonna press X, delete vertices. And that entire 9x9 square has gone because that one face its vertices connected with all of those other faces. So we created a very large window just by deleting a single face. Control Z to bring that back. Now, if we look at other options, we can see only edges and faces deleted. So in this example, if we select one and delete only edges and faces, we can see that no vertices have been deleted. But this is very similar to what we had before, so how would this be different? Well, let's have a look. In order to see the difference here, we'd have to press Ctrl Z and we'd have to select at least two. So we've got two selected now. If we press X and delete only faces, can you notice what's happened? Right, by only deleting the faces, we've actually, if we go into edge select mode, the edge that joins them is still there. So only the edges have now disappeared. All the vertices and all the edges have remained. If we undo that a couple of times, if we now select, let's say we're going to select these four, and we delete only edges and faces, let's see what happens. So we've deleted the edges and the faces, but some of the edges have remained. This is because some of the vertices have remained intact. If we go to vertex select, we can see that in fact not just some, but all vertices have remained intact. Even the vertex in the very center, which is no longer connected to anything because those edges and faces were deleted, even this vertex has remained because we chose the option to only delete edges and faces. So every single vertex that made those edges and faces that were selected, every single one of them is still intact. So that completes the section on, if we do enough undos, we'll get it back. There we go. You do have to do undo quite a few times. That completes the section on deleting parts of our mesh. Let's move on now to dissolving. Now, in order to see the effects of dissolve, we have to select multiple parts of our mesh. So I'm going to press the C key, make my select bigger, and that will do nicely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press X, and I have three options here. I have dissolve vertices, dissolve edges, and dissolve faces. Let's see what effect each of these has. If we select dissolve faces, we get a single face. So they've all been dissolved and a single face has been created in its place. This is particularly effective on flat surfaces. It's not as effective on curved surfaces and surfaces with many angles on them. If we undo that, is there any difference in this scenario with dissolving edges or vertices? Let's have a look. So X, dissolve edges. Yes, there is. Let's go back a sec. So Control and Z. What's happened is that all of the edges are dissolved, which means the edges created by the faces around our selected area have also dissolved to form an even larger face. But this face is a little bit different in terms of its shape. So we're going to show you again, X, dissolve edges. So even the ones at the top, which were also connected via those edges, have also been dissolved. Finally, we have dissolve vertices. which almost does the same thing, but we can see slight changes in the corners and changes down here. So as you can see, different options of dissolving and deleting can do very different things. So it's challenge time. I want you to create a bowl by selecting and deleting edges of a UV sphere. So you're going to create a UV sphere, and then I want you to create a bowl out of it. Create as nice a bowl as you can. Use the scale tool. Try and make a couple of extrusions. Try and make the bowl look fancy. But the main goal of this challenge is to be able to delete in edit mode. That's basically it. Deleting edges in edit mode. That is the name of the challenge. Okay, guys? Good luck with that, and I will see you in the next lecture.